things are not looking good for NASA right now. As it stands, the proposed budget cuts that they are facing are around 25% of the organization's total current budget. The area that will feel the biggest hit from this, though, is in NASA's science programs, with an unsettling 46% being gutted away. This would effectively be fatal to the program as a whole, and it would undoubtedly lead to the cancellation of many active and future missions. So during this video, we're going to go over some of what we would lose from this, some of the effects that it might have on you or me and others like us, and hopefully kind of get into why it is so important that we do all we can not to let this happen. And at the end, I will even show you what we can do about this, all while only using a few minutes of our time. I've already followed these same steps myself, and truthfully, I should have done so sooner. I will admit that at one point I had decided not to talk about this here on my channel. I kind of thought to myself that with it being as small as it is, that nothing I said would really matter. And let's be honest, the truth is, things could still very well go that way. But the more time has gone on, the unhappier I have become with that choice. I'm sitting here watching the chance of something I love go away. I am watching people from those close to me that I love and care about, all the way to those who I just have a passion or care for what it is that they're doing. Right? I'm watching all of them become more and more scared and uneasy about their careers and their futures. And at some point I realized that really what's needed from me, and possibly others as well, is to not be part of the problem, but instead to at least try to be part of the solution. So you know what they say, better late than never. And with that out of the way, let's get into why all of this really is so important. Let's start by covering some of the missions, both active and current, that would be ended by these budget cuts happening. And to start us off here, I'm going to give some focus to climate science and our remote sensing capabilities. Here, we have two already active pieces of equipment. They're called orbiting carbon observatories. The first is OCO2, and it was launched in 2014. This standalone spacecraft is dedicated to studying atmospheric carbon dioxide. For over 10 years now, this observatory has been helping us to better understand and track the CO2 in our atmosphere, which currently is at a record high of 426 parts per million. This is roughly a 20% increase from 1990, when it was closer to 354 parts per million. It has a counterpart as well, an OCO3, which is mounted on the International Space Station. Both of these spacecraft take their measurements using a spectrometer and are helping us to study the same things. And it only begins here. These are not the only missions on this front that we would lose. The Terra, Aqua, and Aura satellites would be terminated. Now these three have been operating for 2 decades now, and have been providing us valuable insights the whole time. Also on the chopping block. Now here on screen, we have the Deep Space Climate Observatory. This space weather satellite is not only performing its intended duties, but it's helping us in another area as well. You see, the data that it's gathering for us from Earth is not too dissimilar to data that we're gathering from exoplanets way out in the universe. And so we can have the ability to practice and get more used to what this kind of data looks like. And aside also helping us monitor Earth and its atmosphere and our weather, it is also aiding us in exoplanet research. This would all come to an end, though, as this observatory would lose all of its Earth-facing instruments. These losses would not only affect our ability to study the climate, but they will also rob us of our ability to more accurately forecast the weather and scout for things like valuable or necessary minerals. The carnage does not end here on Earth either. We would also be losing existing missions that are further out in our solar system. I am sure by now that most of us, at one point or another, have seen this photograph of Pluto. It was taken by the New Horizons spacecraft in 2015. And prior to this, we really did not know what Pluto looked like. Like when I grew up and learned about Pluto, I was presented a gray, barren wasteland, which is a far cry from what we really see in this picture. Because of New Horizons, we have learned a lot more than we knew before about Pluto. And the spacecraft is still going strong. Now it's pushing into the Kuiper Belt and has the opportunity to help us learn more about the Kuiper Belt's cold, icy inhabitants. We also have Juno, a spacecraft currently orbiting Jupiter. It's teaching us more about the gas giant's interior structure, but not only that, it's also bringing us up-close images and data of Jupiter's largest moons. Both of these spacecraft would be on the list to get cancelled. Continuing to some more examples, in 2023, the osiris-rex mission brought us a sample from the asteroid Bennu. It collected it and brought it back to us here on Earth, bringing along with it the capability to directly study and learn from material that's been preserved since the early solar system. While osiris-rex's sample return days are over, the spacecraft is still healthy. It has been given an extended mission, osiris-apex, and it would be visiting a new asteroid Apophis after an Earth flyby in 2029. These are only some of the existing missions that would be cancelled. Missions we have already put money into and that are already serving our needs. Nearly all of NASA's upcoming missions would be cut as well, such as Da Vinci and Veritas, which are meant to explore Venus. The Surface Biology and Geology (SBG) mission, which would see a spacecraft launched into orbit that's capable of studying and mapping methane and carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, finding minerals in the Earth, and tracking things like forest and farm health. Or here we have the AOS, the Atmosphere Observing System, which is a series of satellites meant to study the effects of pollution on complex cloud formation and storm systems, which is one of the most uncertain aspects of future climate change, which, regardless of what you may think, does exist. All of this is really just undermining the health, well-being, agriculture, undermining us and our lives and our country. We would lose our access to studying and profiting from the moon, as the Artemis mission would be cancelled after Artemis 3. There is very likely a surprising amount of resources on the moon that we would just be losing out on. Much of the work the Perseverance rover has been doing will be lost as well with the cut of the Mars Sample Return mission, which is meant to collect the core samples that have already been taken by Perseverance and bring them back to us here on Earth for direct study. All of this really undermines at least some of our chances for what I would say a better future, one with more resources and just more access to places overall. And while I can't go over all of them here, there are around 41 missions proposed to be cancelled, which is 1/3 of NASA's scientific portfolio. a truly unsettling figure. While it is good to have a better understanding of what exactly we will lose, there is still a major point to hit on. How does this affect you or me? The proposed cancellations would devastate the budget of two of NASA's lead science centers, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory and the Goddard Space Flight Center. This would put hundreds, if not thousands, of scientists and engineers out of work, removing income from them and their families. And this would be for more than just NASA, too. The companies that it contracts with would certainly feel this because they would be losing work as well, which would surely lead to more lost jobs. It really snuffs out and puts a damper on the future of space travel and astronomy in our country as well, removing potential career paths and passions from the children and youth of our country, both young and growing, and the students who are maybe just now on the cusp of beginning their career, all without any real guarantee that the cut money, our taxes, won't simply be shifted somewhere else, and quite possibly somewhere else that is not nearly as important. There's more to this to consider though. Many of the current everyday items we enjoy were first studied and implemented by NASA for space travel. And you know what? Let's go over some examples of this. Starting with improvements to shoe technology through Nike Air trainers. So in 1979, NASA aeronautical engineer Frank Rudy took technology that was first developed for use in astronaut helmets and he applied it to sports shoes. By pumping gas into hollowed out plastic soles, he created a shock-absorbing cushion. This technology is still used today and may even be in the shoes that you are wearing right now. Laptops and cell phone cameras both came from NASA as well, when developing tech for various spacecraft. Phone cameras coming from the invention of the CMOS sensor, and laptops through the grid compass, which was a computer system first used for the space shuttle missions. Home comfort items have come from NASA's work too, one such example being the cordless vacuum. So for NASA, they needed a lightweight, powerful, battery-operated machine that could be a drill/vacuum combo for collecting samples on the moon. To create this, they contracted the company Black & Decker. And the technology that came out of this was so good that much of it was shifted into the handheld cordless vacuums that you and I enjoy using today. Another example is memory foam mattresses. Memory foam came from the need to keep pilots cushioned during flights. They needed something that was capable of molding to the astronauts' bodies during high force events. And the solution was what now also led to the memory foam mattress that not me, but you might be fortunate enough to have on your bed right now, or as your bed right now. And just for a couple more examples, things like GPS and resistance-based workout machines share similar stories. The takeaway here is that the money we put into NASA and spaceflight truly goes beyond its original purpose, bringing us both the knowledge, advancements, jobs, and passion gained from space exploration, but the technological advancements that give improvements to everyday life as well. Without action, though, all of this talk truly does not amount to much. And so this brings us to what might be the most important part of this video, which is what can you or I, the average Joe, do about this kind of situation? And the answer in this case and a lot of cases comes down to just contacting your representatives and making your voice heard. I did this myself before writing this video, and during that I discovered that the Planetary Society has made this very easy for us to do. So here we have the Planetary Society's website. I will be leaving the link to this page both in the description of this video, and I will probably put it up on the screen as well. So there's this calling option. I have not looked into this one yet. I probably will after it. I think where we are currently at now, this third one at the bottom is the best option. This is what will send. For me, the email was sent to 3 different people, the representatives of my area, and this is likely for the Senate voting, because that's where this bill is now. And so all you have to do is click this Take Action button. Once you fill out your street address and zip code and hit go, it's going to take you to another screen where it just asks for some basic personal identifying information, and then there will be a pre-written message ready to go for you that to me looks good. It covers all the basic things that I've tried to go over in this video as well, and it's already done for you. So, you know, when I was doing this, I thought about writing, like tailoring something of my own, but then I decided that I should just do, like, I wanted to do the same thing I was going to be recommending here. So I filled out the information and I hit send, and that was it. That's all I had to do. The Planetary Society took the information I entered, paired it with the message they had already written, and sent that off to the appropriate members of Congress. After I completed these steps, I received an email from the Planetary Society, which I'm sure goes out to every individual who chooses to do this, hitting home how much this actually matters, right? Like, communicating values to our elected officials is an important part of being in a democracy, however you feel about that statement. And so, as insignificant as it might feel, each and every one of us who chooses to take this step really does make a difference. I think that for this video, I've conveyed what I wanted to, and so now is the time we bring this to a close. Let us all step outside tonight and look towards the stars.